Welcome back to Simply Green Radio here on News Radio 1180 WHAM. Simply Green Radio brought to you by Simply Green Energy and Mr. Ritter Plumbing. A website we can give out, folks, mysimplygreenenergy.com. Again, mysimplygreenenergy.com. If you'd like to join our phone conversation tonight or join us in studio, that is, over the phone, 222-1180. Again, that number, 222-1180. In studio with Maurice Aubry, also Pete Marisi and Brenna Hartman. And our guest tonight, Rob Fornataro with SWBR Architects. He is a senior designer. And Brenna, I know you're a little under the weather, but we didn't want to leave you out. She is part of the program tonight, folks.
I am
Brenna
here.
Hartman.
And I'm not asleep, I promise. I'm listening to every word you all say. And I have some questions of my own regarding the LEED program. And I always try and think of things from a homeowner standpoint. I'm always interested in learning how I can improve my or reduce my carbon footprint and improve my, home on the green end of things. And I know that they have a LEED for Homes project checklist. Is that something a homeowner can do, or do you need to have some sort of professional come in and really, is it, how hardcore is it? Is it simple as, changing maybe the paint and using low VOCs and maybe the carpet and indoor air quality? What kind of things can you do from an existing home standpoint to get to the LEED end of things?
Well, for LEED for Homes, it's
I
a
asked
little
the
more.
longest questions.
No, there was a two-part. I'll answer the first one. LEED for Homes is a little more technical. You have to get a rater for that home. Usually it's a contractor, and they would come in, they would build it, and then they would test that after it's built. Usually with LEED NC, it's a process that starts in the design phase and goes through the building and then certifies it at the end of the construction. But there is things you could do without being LEED certified.
But you have to build something new to get LEED, or you can't have your existing structure become LEED?
No, you could do existing as well.
Okay.
Yep.
And can that be from the light bulb standpoint? And
that's one thing, definitely.
Okay. But you need
Sure.
to have like a LEED certified contractor come in and test your home?
What they call is a
mine
rater.
Might already be, maybe, from the things that I've done. Is that a possibility? Like I have bamboo floors and, I've done some things. So.
Sure. If you run through the checklist and look through it, but there's also more technical things like tests for air quality and energy efficiency that happen as a process. Again, it's not a menu item.
Mm-hmm.
LEED is meant to be a design tool, and you work through the design and use it till the building's done.
More for when you're on a project and going from A to B than just wanting to make your home that way. I gotcha.
Correct.
That makes sense to me.
222-11.
Makes sense to you?
Absolutely. Sorry. That's what it's all about, right, Rob?
That's right.
222-1180, the number to call if you want to join in on the conversation. Again, that number, 222-1180.
Very good.
We're going to be talking about a little bit of the biomass fuel as well. And as I understand that's, again, like everything else we talk about on the show, it's an alternative to what we are already using or have used in the past. So a lot of people, I don't know, when I think biomass, I almost want to think...
well, let's define it.
Yeah,
Rob,
let's talk.
Define biomass.
I'll define it simply. Some people refer to it as bioenergy. It's really energy from plants and plant-derived materials, so such as wood. That's the largest producer right now. We use that for biomass in the United States. Food crops such as corn, we've seen that a lot with ethanol.
Mm-hmm.
Grassy, woody plants like switchgrasses, farm and forest waste. That's a big part of it. It has been for hundreds of years, actually. And actually methane gas that you could use from landfills, for instance. I've seen that done before. Within that, though, there's also a couple different platforms as well. Biofuels is converting biomass into liquid fuels for transportation, which you'll start to see more of that in automobiles. Biopower, that's burning biomass directly, kind of like a biorefinery. And bioproducts, which I deal a little more with, that's converting biomass into chemicals for making plastics and other products for the building industry.
Okay, so I was at Home Depot the other day, and I didn't see anything that said biomass for sale. I didn't see any bags that said biomass. What are we talking about here? So I burn biomass for my heating system. That doesn't necessarily mean wood, right? Are you talking about corn burners and highly efficient not the fireplace inserts and things like that. Is that what we're talking about here when you say you burn biomass? Is that what we're talking about?
I wanted to know if you found any gasoline for sale there or oil.
Gasoline, no.
No, yeah, it's many different forms, many different scales as well. But for instance, in the farming community, you could look at it like that. There's farm waste. It's not like you would go to the store and pick up a bag of biomass,
Right.
or like Back to the Future, they have that Mr. Fusion car where you just stick banana peels in the car and make it go. Maybe in the future, but for now, it's really behind the scenes, and it's more of getting your energy to you through uses of biofuels.
Biofuels.
Yeah.
Okay, but if I'm burning, why is firewood carbon neutral? I mean, right? If it's isn't biomass supposed to be carbon neutral, or am I missing something?
No, not necessarily.
Okay.
Firewood is not.
It is not.
It releases a lot of chemicals.
Because it was a plant material that they were carbon neutral. Okay, that's how confusing this stuff gets.
I think you were confusing that with the geothermal field.
No.
Yeah,
no.
Biomass is really difficult because it comes from the biology, which is much different than a lot of the other renewables in a sense. It's very palpable. It's there. You could see it. What we call it a biological nutrient.
Mm-hmm.
There's technical nutrients and biological nutrients, and this is a biological nutrient.
Wait a minute. I thought you said you were an architect.
I am, but I'm very interested in this.
I guess so. I feel like I'm back in science lab.
Well, the biological nutrients are something that can be broken down, and technical are things that you have to keep in a loop, like metal, for instance. You build aluminum, you keep it in a continuous loop, so it won't affect the biological nutrients. We have a problem with that right now. We have a lot of technical nutrients that are infecting our biological nutrient flows.
Good night. I'm gone. I'm lost.
Sorry.
I didn't realize we had Professor Fornataro on this evening.
Well, how about if I put it simply? What it is waste equals food. We could look at it like that. Generally, we think of waste as waste. The whole concept of waste in nature is oblivious. There's no such thing. It metabolizes things, and it uses it very efficiently. We're starting to look at that. That's why it's really poetic, this biomass, because we're really looking at nature and seeing how they process things, and from there, we're taking cues. So,
I'll tell you, I lived in Michigan for 7 years. Worked a lot with the farmers. And you get in, and Michigan is every bit as cold as New York State, and maybe then some.
Sure.
Okay, and you get out in the country, and they have these big old drafty barns, boards missing and the holes in the wall, and yet they could heat these places with corn, and that's biomass, correct? And it was this big incinerator, and every once in a while it would drop 2 or 3 kernels of corn, and you'd see the fire just roar away. I know they use eucalyptus trees too, and when I was in California, I had like 40 of these things. Eucalyptus trees, and they grow like weeds, and one of them caught fire. Boy, and you talk about snap, crackle, pop, hot fire, eucalyptus trees. Unbelievable. I couldn't believe what was happening. So this is biomass. This is what we're talking about, right?
Definitely, and it's, again, I don't want to get too technical, but there's the biofuels laboratory I was talking about earlier. They deal with cellulosic on the cellular level of some of these plant-derived materials, and they're starting to find things like switchgrass, which is basically a weed that they're using for fuel. So it's not just corn, and we got to be very careful about that. Food production and fuel production, there's a balance there. There's a lot of things in the news right now where we're taking a lot of that away from the food production spectrum.
Well, that's the free market gone wild, right?
Yes, exactly.
I mean, if I could make more money peddling corn as a fuel,
Yep.
or sugar cane as a fuel, why would I sell it as a food?
But as we know, everything has corn in it, so we've got to replace that somehow.
How complicated is it? Is this something I can do in my garage?
You can on a rudimentary level. Again, farmers have been doing it for hundreds of years, so the technology is nothing new. It's just the efficiency that they're coming up with now, and the ability to use so many different varieties of grasses. It's really gotten quite technical.
It is amazing, Rob, that we got on the topic of this biomass. I have an 18-year-old son, and he's been after me now for the last couple of weeks. He keeps telling me, hey, Dad, I do have a diesel pickup truck, and we've been toying with the idea of starting to burn some of this fryer oil. And, that's really, again, it's another thing we're talking about biomass, correct? And from what I understand, there are some conversion kits out there, although not cheap. It is pretty amazing that, just because of the price of energy that goes up and up all the time, people are starting to look outside the box and thinking outside the box, and it leads you down these paths. And, I guess the only downside to the thing is that as you have the thing running, you'll have the smell of French fries or something. But
You're making me hungry now.
It's a chicken truck.
We already have in the winter months here. They already pump ethanol into the gas lines,
Right.
so it's in the system slightly, so to speak.
What's the most common biomasses that we would see right now?
It's wood.
It's wood right now?
Wood is that's over 50% of the wood.
Like firewood, right? We're talking about firewood.
Firewood, yep. Timber,
Okay.
industry scrap.
well,
You could
yeah,
use-
but I mean, but now doesn't that also apply for the construction industry? I mean, there's a lot of wooden structures.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Yeah, and it could be timber scrap, like I was saying.
Right.
Here's a factoid for you.
Okay.
2001, biomass power, that's timber industry scrap, surpassed hydroelectric power as the largest source of renewable energy to generate electricity in the United States.
That's incredible.
222-1180, the number to call if you want to join in on the conversation. Again, that number, 222-1180. We are in studio tonight with Maurice Aubry, also Pete Marisi, True Story Pete, Brenna Hartman, and also in studio with Rob Fornataro with SWBR Architects. He is a senior designer with SWBR Architects. We will be back with more of Simply Green Radio, brought to you by Simply Green Energy and Mr. Ruder Plumbing here on News Radio 1180 WHAM.